attack this lap.
Check the flag, check the flag.
This is it.
Welcome to our worldwide adventure. This is Extreme E.
This journey has been tough.
One of the biggest accidents of the season.
But we fight for a reason. We stand together, united as one. Racing in the footsteps of giants.
It's absolutely full throttle. The car is dialed.
To leave a legacy worth fighting for. We are the first.
One more race and we will crown our Extreme E champions.
But we won't be the last. Our time is now. The planet is watching.
This global electric odyssey has taken the St. Helena, the Extreme E Championship, and the world's attention to 4 stunning race locations. From the deserts of Saudi Arabia to the beaches of Senegal, then the Arctic in Greenland to the island of Sardinia. It's been an adventure like no other, but the time had come for the series to move to its final race location. With the St. Helena sailing from Sardinia, Italy to Dorset in the UK, famed for its Jurassic coastline and beaches that are littered with the bones of beasts that are no more. The scene was set for the teams and drivers to do battle one more time at the Jurassic X Prix. It's been an amazing first season for this brand new innovative off-road racing series, filled with both highs
It's a brilliant move.
John, look at that!
and lows.
It's one of the biggest accidents of the season. The leader's got a rear right puncture. No! Broken steering.
But all good things must come to an end, and a champion must be crowned. The world's finest drivers have joined brand new teams to compete in the Extreme E Championship. Each team will consist of 1 female and 1 male driver. The drivers will compete in 5 X Prix across the globe, each highlighting a specific environmental issue. An Extreme E race consists of 3 laps, with the first driver completing 2 laps. Each team has a hyperdrive power boost they can activate on all 3 laps of the race. Expect strategy and tactics. Over the course of an X Prix, the quickest team that goes through the Continental Traction Challenge collects a further 5 team championship points. Day 1 is qualifying and consists of 2 qualifying rounds. In each round, every team does 3 laps against the clock. In both rounds, there are qualifying points up for grabs, and this determines how they progress to the Day 2 semi-finals and Crazy Race. There are also championship points to be won, with the top team in qualifying bagging 12 vital points, down to the last place qualifying team who walk away with just 4. Day 2 starts with the semi-final, with the top 2 teams from each semi progressing to the final. The bottom 3 teams from Day 1's qualifying go head-to-head in the Crazy Race, with the winner taking the last remaining place in the final. The top 2 teams from the semi-finals and the winner of the Crazy Race will battle it out in the 5-car final. The team that crosses the line first wins the X Prix and claims 25 championship points, with all 5 X Prix counting towards the team's championship. And in the Drivers' Championship, competitors can drop their worst result of the season. Who has what it takes to lift the trophy? With the inaugural title hanging in the balance, the 2 championship protagonists, RXR and X44, were ready to lay it all on the line.
We've raced across some of the world's most extreme terrains, and now it all comes down to this.
We've come this far, we won 3 out of 4 races, and the time has come.
It's been a hard and a long journey, but it's not over yet.
The fight is still on.
Everything comes down to this.
Before the champion would be crowned, first the teams and drivers would have to take on the Jurassic X-Prix course, which would present a whole new set of challenges.
I mean, it is tricky with the mud because at some parts, like after waypoint 10, if you come out in the mud, it's like you're a passenger, you can't do anything about it. So there are some parts where you have to learn to, okay, where do I have to take it really slowly just to keep trace, and where can I push more for it? But it's fun. I'm enjoying driving it.
It is Extreme E, so we are supposed to be on everything, and now also mud is ticked off the box, right? So ice, mud, sand, gravel, everything.
With the course length of 3.8 kilometres being shorter than previous rounds, the teams will complete 3 laps instead of 2, requiring a different skill set and approach.
It's very muddy, it's very slippery, it's hard to find traction and all those things, so that's definitely a struggle out there, and that's for every racer, I think. So it's going to be interesting, it's going to be exciting to have 3 laps, that's going to be new. The females are going to start first 2 laps and the males 1 lap at the end, and that'll be interesting, so excited for it.
The mud, I think, is, it's fun to drive in, but when it gets on your windscreen, it doesn't come off. Yeah, we're not moaning about dust, we're moaning about mud, but that's just kind of the nature of us drivers. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's so fun to drive on. I love sliding around. This is where I grew up. The UK mud is like my home, so I feel quite comfortable on it. We just need to pick up the pace a bit now for the afternoon.
It looks extremely muddy, which we could expect when we travel to UK at this time of the year. So yeah, I think try to understand what areas to be cautious, what areas to push, and also if you're in traffic, what alternative line could you take if you end up with a very limited visibility. So I think things like that will be very important, but it's going to be extremely slippery and muddy, I think. That's very clear.
The muddy terrain will play a big part here, but with plenty of fast, flat-out sections, combined with both tight and long sweeping turns, plus a huge jump for good measure, the Jurassic X-Prix course could provide the best racing action yet. With the course set and the teams and drivers ready, it was time for qualifying session 1. Kevin Hansen headed out for the JBXC team and was giving it all on his first lap, topping the times in the Continental Traction Challenge. Michaela Arlin-Kotelinski took control and was looking confident, but towards the end of her lap took a wrong turn.
She actually takes the left hand of the 3 chutes, which as you can see is not an option.
I felt pretty good in the run. I felt that I was gaining time, but then in the last, pretty much last corner, I chose the wrong way. I was certain that I was on the right path, but I wasn't, so I missed a waypoint, which gave a 7-second penalty, and that was a shame. Yeah, I'm sure that we're going to have a better Q2.
Championship leaders RXR were next out, and Johan Kristoffersson wasn't playing it safe. He was flat out in the mud and laying it all on the line.
It's great stuff, isn't it? The car bouncing around, flicking all over the place as he tries to hold on to it.
He even managed to execute the shot of the weekend and take out a drone mid-lap.
Wow!
Oh dear.
What are the chances of that?
After a smooth switch, Molly Taylor took control and was in full send mode.
Kristoffersson and Taylor taking the lead with a 9:21.886.
We're feeling confident. We know where we can improve. We've got a good a baseline now. But yeah, everything's working really well. The track's a lot of fun to drive, so we're really enjoying it.
Acciona Sainz were next up with rally legend Carlos Sainz in the hot seat, but it wasn't the treacherous conditions that were causing him problems.
His door's open, his door's open.
But look at that, Carlos. Multitasking, reaches up.
After getting the door closed, he was pedal to the metal.
Sainz and Sands doing a great job out there. They were fastest yesterday in free practice.
He handed over to Lyasans, who put together a stunning lap and closed the gap to the leaders, crossing the line just 0.85 seconds behind RXR.
It's a 9:22, 7:42, 8/10 down, second position.
Last to take to the course were the masters of qualifying X44, looking to chase down their rivals and stay in the fight for the title. Sebastian Loeb headed out first and was instantly on the pace. 1 second faster throughout his first lap and looking very racy.
He's gone 2.21 now. Loebe's really flying.
But as he approached the knife's edge jump, he got all out of shape.
Did he clip the barriers on the outside there? I think he knocked down some of the hoardings as he exited the jump.
On his second lap, he was trying to hunt down the fastest traction challenge time, but made a similar mistake coming over the jump.
That didn't look like it was the perfect way to land the car.
Oh, he misses out on it, look, by 0.19 of a second, draws with RXR in terms of the time through the traction challenge.
Despite those issues, he handed over to Cristina Gutierrez for the final lap, a couple of seconds in the lead.
Oh dear!
Gutierrez on two wheels. They set the fastest time of the session. Job done.
Well done, good job. Fastest time by 2 seconds.
It was a good session for us. It was very close between the drivers. We had to push really hard to try to be in the front. Finally we achieved it, so we won Q1. That's the best start we could have. So now it's still the super sector to fight for. So for sure we will try to push again and do our best.
With X44 outpacing their title rivals RXR and taking the win in Q1, they kept the championship fight well and truly alive. But they'd have to do the same again in Q2 to take the overall qualifying win and put the pressure on RXR. Extreme E's inaugural season may be coming to a close, but the championship's growth is continuing to accelerate, with motorsport royalty McLaren joining the series for its second season. Ahead of the Jurassic X-Prix, Tanner Faust drove the Odyssey 21 around the Dorset course and gave us his thoughts about the season ahead.
Hi, I'm Tanner Faust, one of the drivers for the McLaren XE team in Extreme E 2022. I've been pretty lucky to race a lot of different stuff, from road racing to rally racing for 8 years, and then I did drifting for a while, which was a fascinating sport to be involved in. Rallycross, and then fortunate enough to do Pikes Peak 5 or 6 times, and Baja 1000, a lot of one-off events. Rallycross in Europe, European Championship, World Championship, and then every professional rallycross event in the US since 2006 X Games. If motorsport is going to continue, then there's going to be electric racing. So I was excited to be a part of that. I've had a chance to drive a lot of electric cars in a lot of weird scenarios. But this one is approaching motorsport and electric in a different way. So in order for motorsport to survive, Extreme E series like this have to continue with gender equality, with environmental influences that are positive, and technology that's relevant to the cars of the future. I think the potential, the environmental potential of Extreme E is fascinating. The scientists on the boat, the studies in the local areas that may not be conducting those studies on their own, telling the story through such, so many big names, so many big brands, so many big named owners of teams. It really is an amazing thing, and I think it's critical for motorsport to move in this direction in order to continue, as manufacturers have so many other ways to market themselves than racing.
No matter where you are on the planet, the natural world is around us. Humanity relies on it to produce food, soak up carbon, and provide the air we breathe. Whilst Extreme E was at the championship's final race location in Dorset, the series was aiming to raise awareness of the climate and environmental challenges that are on many people's doorsteps. We can measure the variety of plant and animal life, the biodiversity of a particular habitat, by collecting data and recording the different species.
The word biodiversity comes from biological diversity. So really that is describing all the variety of the types of life, but also all of the variety within life. So all the genetic diversity that allows organisms to adapt. Encompassed in that is how that life itself interacts with the ecosystems and habitats of which it's a part.
The Biodiversity Intactness Index tells us the percent of biodiversity that is left intact in a specific area after human impact. We need the global biodiversity intactness level to be at 90%. This is considered the safe level to prevent the world tipping into an ecological recession. The issue is the global biodiversity intactness index level is at 75%.
In the UK, we have very few ancient woodlands, and the majority of our land mass here in the UK would have been ancient oak woodlands, would have been heathlands, would have been sand dunes. Now, a lot of this reduction has happened many years ago through industrial revolution. So now we're left with little tiny pockets of fragmented habitats.
The The United Kingdom's biodiversity intactness index level is at a shocking 50%, the lowest in the G7.
So what we need to do now is we need to preserve what we've got, because these are very special and unique habitats. But we also need to be thinking about restoring other locations. So if you own a piece of land, that might be your back garden, what can you do? Can you build a pond? Can you have a wildflower area? What we can do is really value the space around us. We can think about what resources we're using. So let's think about using things that have been made locally with materials that are renewable. Let's think about eating less meat. Most of emissions come from energy sources, so that's heating our homes, that's air conditioning in our homes. That is how we travel to our daily jobs and our recreation. There's lots of aspects of our lives, and small changes from each of us will mean that together we can create a planet that is better for future generations.
Coming into the final round, Rosberg X Racing had the championship crown within reach, but the fight isn't over yet, with X44 still in the hunt. Here's how the season has played out so far. Round 1, X44 took the top spot in quali, but it was RXR who secured the inaugural win and 35 points. Round 2, X44 again qualified fastest, but RXR made it 2 wins from 2 and secured another 36 points. Round 3, X44 once again won quali, but RXR's luck finally ran out as they crashed in the final, leaving Andretti United to take the win. In Sardinia, RXR's Molly Taylor rolled their car in Q1 but clawed it back in Q2 to secure a spot in the semi-finals. But for the 4th round in a row, X44 went fastest overall in quali. X44 had a huge crash in the first semi-final, but rebuilt their car in time for the main event, where they once again battled with RXR. X44 were leading, but once again they crashed out due to a mechanical failure, leaving RXR to take the win and make it 3 wins from 4 races. Coming into the grand finale, RXR lead X44 by 16 points and could wrap up the team's championship during qualifying if they extend their lead over X44 by a further 6 points. With X44 topping the times in Q1 and not looking to slow down, it was looking likely that the fight would go down to the final day, and with every session critical in the title fight, the teams and drivers were laser focused. Jenson Button's team were looking to bounce back after picking up a penalty in Q1.
Good start, Michaela. Keep pushing.
With the Swedish pair of Michaela Arling-Kotelinski and Kevin Hansen setting a time that looked hard to beat.
Hansen setting the fastest time at the moment. On my word, that is a great time to put on the board, going almost 8 seconds faster than anybody else.
Andretti United took to the mud, and British driver Katie Munnings was making the most of racing on home soil, staying within touching distance of the JBXE team. She handed over to Timmy Hansen. Not to be outdone by his younger brother Kevin Hansen, he flew through the traction challenge, setting the new fastest time, but pushed a little too hard.
Oh, Hansen's off! Hansen's gone off. He'd just gone quickest on the Continental Traction Challenge by 1/10 of a second. He'd gone quickest in that sector with a 52.1, and then he crashes the car. It's a big off into the trees, reverses the Odyssey 21 back out. He's going to drag the car back on. This run's not over. Go on, Timmy Hansen.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys.
Championship leaders Rosberg X Racing headed out looking to secure themselves a top qualifying position. 2 fast but relatively safe laps from Molly Taylor saw them close to the top of the times. She handed over to Johan Kristoffersson, who was on the limit for his 1 flying lap.
Full beans now and see what they can do. Going into knife edge, using this tactic to use hyperdrive to give yourself as much speed as possible. Scrub a little bit of speed off as you go into the jump. Take a massive bit of air. RXR and Kristoffersson, they are taking no prisoners here. He is going for it.
So that big jump was definitely an attempt to take the...
They've got it. They've got the traction challenge. They've gone faster than anybody else so far at the 51.940. They've smashed through it.
Qualifying experts X44 went out next, and Cristina Gutierrez was pushing hard, leaving nothing to chance as she flew through her opening 2 laps and was at the top of the times, but not able to catch RXR in the traction challenge. She handed over to 9-time World Rally champ Sebastian Loeb, looking to maintain X44's qualifying dominance.
He's quickest so far on this lap, but is he going to be quickest come the end of this sector? 51.9's not enough, 52.5, he's 0.6 down.
It wasn't fast enough from Loeb, but I tell you what, they're still flying out there. And it's a good time, a 9:14.793. X44, your top qualifiers for the whole of the championship.
5 times out of 5, absolutely incredible job by them, Jenny.
X44 took the top spot in quali once again, making it 5 quali wins from 5 races. But their breathtaking speed only saw them close the gap to their title rivals by 1 point, as RXR finished just behind them in P2.
Very good run in Q2, managed to snatch the super sector as well, but that's going to be interesting to follow that for the rest of the weekend, but puts us second overall, and we only lost 1 point against X44 in the championship battle, so that's good, but yeah, looking forward to see how that's going to pan out.
Overall, we won all the quali from the start of the season to the last race, so that's great. It shows that we are a good team with a good speed. Today I made a little mistake in the traction challenge, so hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to get it. It's not done, it's so close, and the driver were pushing so fast in this sector that I don't know, we will try for sure.
If RXR can keep hold of the fastest time in the Continental Traction Challenge, they will secure 5 championship points. But with those points up for grabs across every session, all the teams will be pushing hard. And with the title on the line and X44 looking rapid, those 5 points could make all the difference in the championship fight. Racing around the world allows Extreme to highlight the devastating effects that climate change is having on the planet, but also showcases some of the solutions. Climate change is a global issue and requires us all to do our part to make a difference, no matter how small those parts may seem. We're all in this together.
Extreme is not only a race. When we started it, we wanted to have one of the most incredible racing shows in the world, go to the most remote places. But we also wanted to use our platform through sport, raise awareness of the huge challenges that we have. That's the mission of Extreme. With the hope that we can find solutions for the huge challenges that we have in front of us. Only then Extreme will be really fulfilling its goal.
One of the main things that I've learned this year is that to live more sustainably is not as difficult as I first thought.
I'm trying to make a more conscious effort just with my everyday consumption, what I eat, also investments, and for example switching my energy in my home to a renewable energy supplier and things like that can improve day-to-day life.
Personally, I've learned so much about the impacts of recycling. I've been a lot more conscious about single-use plastics.
So at home I've tried to start and recycle a lot more than what I did in the past, and also try and use the bike rather than the car if I can.
What changed in my life this year? I would say maybe the fact that I buy an electric car. It has a lot of power and saving the planet in the same time. Don't have to stop at the fuel station. So at the end I enjoy it.
It's all that little stuff, recycling, or just eating better, or planting trees in the backyard with the kids.
At home, I'm aware of waste a little bit more, and growing my own plants, making my own compost basically with my fruits and vegetables I don't eat or spoil or go bad, so I'm not just throwing them in the trash. That's kind of, something I never thought I'd be doing.
We're not just bringing fancy cars and putting on a race and going home. We're going to these places and we're doing it with a purpose.
I think all the legacy programs that we have done this year and learning about the environment, the local environment, has just been very eye-opening to me to see what is actually happening in our world firsthand.
It always seems impossible until it's done. And to do it, we all have to take that step forward together.
It is a situation where we need all hands on deck and all solutions on deck.
Doing those little things on a minor level seems minor, but when you get so many more people involved, it becomes a major effort. So everybody do a little, it'll go a long way.
Next time on Electric Odyssey. we find out more about how Extreme E will leave a lasting legacy behind at our final race location.
Wetlands can store 3 to 5 times more carbon than a terrestrial forest. In some places, planting trees is the best solution to that, but in some places it might be recreating a wetland.
Seeing what went down in a dramatic crazy race.
Looks for alternate line on the run to the jump. Hansen goes late on the brakes. Where's Leduc? Flies it high in the Hummer. Lands it still. Oh, huge water splash.
And the first semi-final as we move one step closer to crowning a champion.
Loeb's gone quickest in the traction challenge. X44 have got those 5 championship points.
Luke is all over the back of Hansen.
They release the X44 car before she gets there. They do. Brilliant tactics from X44.